So Mrs. Centel here with a new unboxing video for you today. I have two boxes to unbox. One is one of our subscriptions. The other is the tail end of a larger order that came in a little while ago that I made an unboxing video for as well. Alright, so now I'm going to open this box. One of the tips I learned about opening boxes is if you push in the side, you can more easily tear up the tape. Although this tape has strings. There we go. This is the book boxing struggle edition. Struggling to unbox today. All right, authentic unboxing. Complete with plastic bubble fill. All right, let's see what we have today. Survivor Diaries, Dust Storm. Stay calm, stay smart, survive by Terry Lynn Johnson. And it says, play the game online at survivordiaries.com. That's pretty cool. So with this one, you have a book and also the ability to play a game. Sixth graders and former best friends, Jen and Martin, are geared up to attend one of the most exciting geocaching field trip ever in the New Mexico desert. When their van gets a flat tire in the middle of nowhere, they decide to bike off on their own to get a head start. Without warning, a blinding wall of dust and debris barrels toward them. Separated from their field trip group and in the desert alone, they will have to use all their knowledge and grit to survive. They'll also have to figure out how to save their friendship. And apparently this is a whole series, these Survivor Diaries. So if you're someone who checks this book out, let me know what you think. Because if it's something that we all like, I can order the other ones too. And again, I like the fact that there's this interactive element with the game. It says, do you have what it takes to survive? Look for more Survivor Diaries and play the Will You Survive game at survivordiaries.com. Very cool. So that'll be an action-adventure book. Ooh, Margaret Peterson Haddix, Children of Jubilee. So this is the author of the Hidden series. Among the Hidden, Among the Brave, that series. Since the enforcers raided Refugee City, Rosie, Edwy, and the others are captured and forced to work as slave labor on an alien planet, digging up strange pearls. Weak and hungry, none of them are certain they will make it out of this alive. But Edwy's tech-savvy sister, Keandra, has always been the one with all the answers, and so they turn to her. Now, however, it is this jaw-dropping finale of the Children of Exile series by New York Times bestselling author Margaret Peterson Haddix. Keandra realizes that she can't find her way out of this one on her own, and they all might need to rely on young Kana and her alien friend if they are to survive. So this is part of a series, Children of Exile series. I think it's a different series than Among the Hidden. There we go. I don't know if we have, I have to look and see what we have with that. If we don't have the whole series, we will get it. Oh, this one looks super pretty. Look at that pretty cover. Ruby in the Sky by Gian Zulik Ferrulo. It says, you stood tall, you didn't run away. Sometimes that's enough. Look how pretty that is. All right. Courage can be found when you simply stand up. 12-year-old Ruby Moon Hayes does not want her new classmates to ask about her father. She does not want them to know her mother has been arrested, and she definitely does not want to make any friends. Ruby just wants to stay as silent and invisible as a new moon in the frozen sky. She and her mother won't be staying long in Vermont anyway, and then things can go back to the way they were before everything went wrong. But keeping to herself isn't easy when Ahmad Salim, a Syrian refugee, decides he's her new best friend. Or when she meets the bird lady, a recluse named Abigail who lives in a ramshackle shed near Ruby's house. Before long, Ahmad and Abigail have become Ruby's friends. and she realizes there is more to their stories than everyone knows. As ugly rumors begin to swirl around the people Ruby loves, she must make a choice: break her silence or risk losing everything that's come to mean so much to her. Ruby in the Sky is a story of the walls we hide behind and the magic that can happen when we're brave enough to break free. That sounds fantastic. I think that's going to be on my to-read list. Ruby in the Sky. Who's with me? We have another one of the Jason Reynolds series, and this one's track number 4, Lou. So I think at this point we have the entire series. This is the newest one. Lou was born to be co-captain of the Defenders. Well, actually, he was born albino, but that's got nothing to do with being a track star. Lou has swagger, plus the talent to back it up. And with all that, not to mention the gold chains and diamond earrings, no one's going to outshine him. Lou knows he can lead Ghost, Patina, and Sunny and the rest of the team to victory at the championships, but it might not be as easy as it seems. Suddenly, there are hurdles in Lou's way, literally and not so literally, and Lou needs to figure out fast what winning the gold really means. And it's a National Book Award finalist, a New York Times notable book, a Kirkus Reviews Best Book of the Year, and then, they repeat again that it's a New York Times bestseller. So, very popular series. Lots being said about this series. So give it a try. Ooh, this looks cool. Turbo Racers Trailblazer by Austin Aslin. How cool that looks. The roar of the crowd, the glow of the spotlight, the thrill of the race. 12-year-old Mace Blazer dreams of going turbo. Turbonauts thrive with a thrum of trimorpher rocket engines as the vehicles transform between roadsters, aircrafts, and torpedo-fast submarines, all while racing full throttle. And Mace believes he's got what it takes to win. He only needs the chance to prove it. So when a reclusive, retired pilot chooses Mace to try out to be part of the next generation of Turbonauts, Mace knows that this is his moment to show what he can do. But the path to his big shot means facing down the best and the brightest from around the world. Mace will have to live fearlessly, hone his reflexes, and dare to be revolutionary. But as he starts to win, Mace quickly realizes that some things come at a steep price. He'll have to risk it all while he decides between what is right and what is easy. Every morph matters in this heart-pounding, exhilarating new adventure series by acclaimed author Austin Aslin. So another adventure series. And we have nonfiction, Olympian Hephaestus, God of Fire. So those of you interested in Greek mythology, it looks like there's a whole bunch of other books in this series. It's a nice modern version of these stories. There's an Olympian's family tree inside. Maybe if you liked reading some of those Percy Jackson books and you want to know more about the mythology behind that. And this one is a graphic novel. That's pretty cool. And that's the end of our Junior Library Guild shipment. But not the end of our video, because I have more books here from Colin. I have The Brave Little Tailor. It says the Brothers Grimm, Jacob and Wilhelm, first published their famous tales more than 200 years ago. Cinderella, Hansel and Gretel, and Snow White get all the headlines, but the Brothers Grimm collected other weirder tales too. Weird, but a lot of fun. In this retelling, a young tailor named Abraham Spoke swats 7 flies with one smack of his belt. He's so impressed by his own bravery that he sews the words 7 in 1 strike on his belt. As Abe travels the world, everyone who reads those words assumes the little guy is strong and powerful. Little do they know, he's about to bring them a whole lot of grim and gross. So the Grim and Gross retelling. There's a whole series of these books. I read about that series at one point somewhere, and that's why I ordered these. That's why I'm thinking that I'm still unboxing the one that's a surprise. I read about these and heard they seemed really interesting, so I got a few of them. This one is And the 7 Kids. So another Grim and Gross retelling there. Terrible Twos, The Last Laugh. So this is book 4 in the Terrible Twos series. This is a graphic novel. Well, it's not quite the traditional graphic novel, but there's lots of pictures in it. So if you like that, we have that whole series. Another Svetlana Chmakova book, the creator of Awkward and Brave. This one's called Crush. If you're interested in that. Graphic novel. Here we have a biography, Someone Like Me, how one undocumented girl fought for her American dream. So if you're interested in hearing that story about undocumented immigrants and what they go through, what their lives are like, and how they become citizens, this is a book for you. Women in Earth and Space Exploration. So this will be great for that science unit coming up. This one as well, astrophysicist and space advocate Neil deGrasse Tyson. I know Mrs. Quillen is always really interested in that particular astrophysicist. Strong Inside. This is also a biography, so a new sports biography. This is the true story of how Perry Wallace broke college basketball's color line. So not only about sports, but civil rights and an important time in our history. The Hidden Witch. And this one's by Molly Knox Ostertag. The Hidden Witch. This is a graphic novel as well. A new copy of Spy School. Part of this series, I have Cinder, Scarlet, and Cress already. This is Winter, fourth book in the Lunar Chronicles. Ooh, this one I read this summer. Yes, The List. So it is science fiction. It says, how many words do you need to survive? The city of Ark is the last safe place on Earth. To make sure humans are able to survive, everyone in Ark must speak List, a language of only 500 words. Everyone, that is, except Letta. As apprentice to the wordsmith, Letta can read all the words that have ever existed. Forbidden words like freedom, music, and even pineapple tell her about a world she's never known. One day, her master disappears, and the leaders of Ark tell Letta she is the new wordsmith and must shorten List to fewer and fewer words. Then Letta meets a teenage boy who somehow knows all the words that have been banned. Letta's faced with a dangerous choice: sit idly by and watch language slowly slip away, or follow a stranger on a path to freedom or banishment. So Letta has to stand up in almost an impossible situation in order to try and save language and save humanity in a sense. This one is called Finding Perfect, Keeping It Together Inch by Inch. It says, this is an engrossing story of friendship, family, resilience, and owning who you are. I am better for having met Molly. To 12-year-old Molly Nathans, perfect is the number 4, the tip of a newly sharpened number 2 pencil, a pad of crisp white paper, her neatly assigned glass animal figurines. What is not perfect is Molly's mother leaving the family to take a faraway job with the promise of returning in 1 year. What if 1 year turns into 2 years and then turns into forever? So Molly hatches a plan to bring her mother home, winning the Lakeville Middle School Poetry Slam contest. The winner is honored at a fancy banquet. If Molly wins, her mother will have to come home for the celebration, right? But as time passes, writing and reciting slam poetry becomes harder for Molly. Eventually, everything becomes harder as new habits appear, and counting, cleaning, and organizing are no longer enough to keep Molly's world from spinning out of control. In this fresh voice debut novel, one girl learns that there is no such thing as perfect. So that sounds to me like the main character probably has OCD. It's a very interesting experience to read about. This one is The Alcatraz Escape. It's Book Scavenger by Jennifer Chambliss Bertman. So this is part of the Book Scavenger series, which we already have in our media center. So if you are interested in continuing that series, we have Blue Crown, a green glass house story. So this, we have the sequel to this. I think this is the first. No, I'm sorry. We have the first and second. I think this is the third. Lucy Blue Crown has grown up on her father's schooner, the Left-Handed Fate. Its crew is her family, and the many ports where it anchors are her home. But now she's being forced to begin a new life ashore with her stepmother and half-brother in the thumping huge house on a hill high above the nearest waterway. Lucy doesn't care that living in a house is safer and supposedly the proper place for a 12-year-old girl. It's boring. She is certain that the only place she'll ever belong is with her father on a ship of war as part of the crew. Then two strangers take a malicious interest in her little brother's unusual pyrotechnical skills, and life on land is suddenly far more perilous than at sea. There's more evil and magic in the world than Lucy realized, and it will take all her fighting instincts to keep her family together. Bird Boy is another grim and gross. Look at that picture. That definitely looks gross and intriguing. I want to know what's going on there. And we have Hans in Luck, rather, and it's another grim and gross. Piece of paper. Out. We have Odds and Ends. This is another series, the Mighty Odds series. Ski Spy School. We have Amulet, the newest Amulet. I have actually 2 other copies of that too, so plenty to go around. Evil Spy School. Spy School Goes South. Ooh, this one, I came across this one when I was in Barnes & Noble, and this just looked so interesting. My family divided. Deported. Long before I understood the meaning of that word, I learned to dread it. It implied that one day my loving, hardworking immigrant parents could be expelled from America and sent back to Colombia. Month after month, year after year, they strived to become American citizens. They pleaded, planned, and prayed. Their dream was to stay with me, here, in the country we love. So this is a biography, actually. So there's the picture of the main character of the story. It says, one girl's journey of home, loss, and hope. Some more pictures of her. Before her success on television, Diane Guerrero was a young girl living in Boston. One day, while she was at school, her undocumented immigrant parents were taken from their home, detained, and later deported. Guerrero's life, which had been full of the support of a loving family, was turned upside down. Reflecting the experiences of millions of undocumented immigrant families in the United States, Guerrero's story, adapted from her adult memoir, In the Country We Live, is at once heartbreaking and hopeful. Definitely one I want to read. And we're down to our last 3. We have The Unwanteds, Stories of Syrian Refugees. So this is a graphic novel. I actually think I have at least 2 other graphic novels that are about refugees. So if you're interested in that storyline, you like graphic novels, this would be something for you. Those of you who are in my refugee read aloud group might be interested in that. Speaking of refugee read alouds, Escape from Aleppo. So Aleppo is in Syria, and that's Syrian refugees. That was the topic of that book I just showed you, and also it was part of the book Refugee that the Read Aloud group read, which is by Alan Gratz. And you guys are going to be learning about refugees in social studies, so you might be interested in reading more. It says, silver and gold balloons, a birthday cake covered in pink roses, a new dress. Nadia stands at the center of attention in her parents' elegant dining room. This is the best day of my life, she thinks. Everyone is about to sing happy birthday when her uncle calls from the living room. Baba, brothers, you need to see this. Reluctantly, Nadia follows her family into the other room. On TV, a reporter stands near an overturned vegetable cart on a dusty street. Beside it is a mound of smoldering ashes. The reporter explains that a vegetable vendor in the city of Tunis burned himself alive, protesting corrupt government officials who have been harassing his business. Nadia frowns. It's December 17th, 2010. Nadia's 12th birthday, and the beginning of the Arab Spring. Soon, anti-government protests erupt across the Middle East, and one by one, countries are thrown into turmoil. As civil war flares in Syria and bombs fall across Nadia's home city of Aleppo, her family decides to flee. Inspired by current events, this novel sheds light on the complicated situation in Syria that has led to an international refugee crisis and tells the story of one girl's journey to safety. So that's historical fiction, which is my favorite genre. And I bought 2 copies of that one. And that's the end. So if you like any of those books, you are more than welcome to come on down to the Puma Den and check it out for yourself. Thanks for watching. Bye.